I look like I'm a ghost.
Just we're it. We're live here. Just a second. What a day! What a week! Got back from Austin, Texas, from Sober in the City, which was a blast. Of course, you know what, Peggy?
What?
That hurt is that you made me work the projector like that kid in high school that sat in the back that always sat back with the teacher and always ran the projector. That's what you made me feel like.
Yeah.
Setting up mics that I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't use electrical or electronics. I played the trombone. So anyways, this is the backstory with my best friend Peggy. But I got so tired of hearing people calling me Sonny. I said, why are you calling me Sonny? It's Jeff. And they said, because the way Peggy treats you, it reminds us of Sonny and Cher and how mean she is to him. So you've been, excuse my French, saying awful things about my theme music that I decided I have a new theme for us.
Okay, what is it?
But you have to sing is the only problem. And it is a two-parter, but I took out the words. This is the karaoke, but our new theme song. Hold on. I didn't trim the beginning. 2 and 1. Anything? And the beat goes on. And the beat goes on. You don't like this?
Yeah.
The Sonny and Cher. La-di-da-di-dee.
I got it.
La-di-da-di-da.
I got it. I got it. But you know, again, you've known this from day one that if I sing, I will change the migration pattern of geese.
So I've been called Sonny because of you. So this is our new theme song. So we'll just see what if anyone likes it or not. Lisa is in the house. Always great. She was there this week. Love seeing her. So yeah, that was a fantastic. That was all about what the message. I think your book that I heard is a great read. And I'm going to do that someday. But recovery,
I doubt it because I'm never going to have pictures in it.
Well, I just had my own. I took a bunch of pictures of my kids and I dispersed it through the book. So like every 4th page, there's a picture, and now I actually enjoy reading it. But recovery, I thought, was an end. You stop drinking, you stop going to you stop. And that's what I thought it was. And that's the one thing I got out of this weekend that I loved was, and I thought of this first, and everyone's giving it to Matthew McConaughey with this green light book thing. I came up with it first, just for the record. But yeah, sobriety is a green light. It's what alcohol did. It was not the negatives so much. Yeah, I didn't get mine, but it's what the potentials that it stole from me. And this weekend I saw those potentials come back to life. So that was awesome. It was the only thing that was a negative was it was such a happy moment. And then Lisa, who's on and watching right now, she started crying a few times like she always does, but she can cry watching, Cheers on TV. So anyways, enough of that. This is the guest that I think you're going to like this, Peggy, because I'm going to shut up and just listen to her talk. But I am thrilled. Sarah Olson from Put It Down Lifestyle. Sarah, it's great to have you. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
This is, I've done. Oh, and once again, it's like everyone says Sarah's great. What do the first thing I read is Sarah's program for women. And once again, I'm, my Sober Sis membership with Jen Couch I get that stamp that says denied every time I send it in. I used the name Jeffrina last time. And then I was like, hey, let's have Sarah on. This will be great. And then, for women. So, that's great. Thanks.
Well, Jeff, now I can send everyone over to you because I can't understand the male mind. That is an enigma. You guys say that women are hard to understand.
That's correct. That's the problem. See, we try to, with drinking issues, we try to uncover the problem, and you just came up with it. And it's that word woman. But anyways, so I'm just gonna that's it. I'm done. I'm gonna put you in the hot seat there and tell us about Put It Down Lifestyle, and then I'm excited. What I read, it just sounds like a lot of fun. Oh, yeah. and I know Peggy's gonna ask you about it, but your TikTok videos. Are you gonna perform live for us tonight?
I mean, I could do a little chicken dance. I don't know. I could do something.
That would work. Well, anyways, tell us about Put It Down Lifestyle.
Sure. So, my story isn't very different than anyone else on here. I went through a long history of alcohol where I loved to party, and party was synonymous with drinking. And I didn't even know there was a thing to party without drinking. That wasn't really a thing. But I don't really know when it turned from binge party drinking to everyday drinking and really being a part of my life. And I like to call it when it was frequent, uninterrupted, consistent, keeled over. And if you know what every single letter in that little sentence starts with: frequent, F, uninterrupted, U, consistent, C, K, keeled over. I don't know when things got that way, but all of a sudden they did. And like a lot of you, when COVID came around, it exacerbated everything. And I've been trying for probably the past 10 years. I knew that it just wasn't serving me. And I was like, I hate the hangovers, and I don't like gaining weight. And a lot of it stemmed from vanity, which, weren't necessarily the right reasons, but I knew it wasn't something that I loved doing and the impacts it was having. And as my daughter got older, who is now 13, almost 14 years old, she was able to recognize that mom was a little bit different when she was drinking wine, and she could then articulate it. And I could be like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm teaching how to drink responsibly. This is part of life. Yeah. So, not different than a lot of people's stories. And, I started going to church. I went and saw spiritual advisors. I was Reiki healed all the time. I did all these different things, just trying to search for everything around me that could potentially fix me, when in actuality it was here. And I joined SoberSys in September 2020 and met this amazing group of women who, just changed my life. And through this connection and having people who I could really relate to, I was able to, that was my moment. That was my time. And through that, plus the environment where I didn't have the opportunity to go out because everything was shut down, and having a husband who wasn't a huge drinker, I was kind of leading the way. It was this perfect recipe and the right time for me to put it down. And so
what was missing from traditional programs? Because this is kind of different, that your approach, what was missing?
For me, I was inundated with the alcohol conversation, and there was so much conversation about alcohol. It's so important. We really need to know the mechanisms behind why we're making the decisions that we're doing. We need tools to put in our toolkit, but there's also other healthy habits that we should be developing, so we have stuff to do with this found free time that we're going to have. So during the 25 days, we want to promote health and wellness through meditations, through workouts. So we have a yoga instructor. I'm a group fitness instructor, so I'll do some HIIT classes, and we have a live cardio class that's coming up shortly. And just really kind of giving it a little bit of a wellness approach to it, because it's not just about the alcohol. And for me, on my journey, I knew that once I kind of really was able to dive deep and put it down, I was able to figure out that my reasons for drinking were because I really was hiding from things that were hurting me, that I wasn't feeling great about inside, that I needed to deal with. With the 25 days as well. And we separated out into 4 different weeks, and we talk about a different topic every week. And the last 2 weeks are on socializing and relationships, which I think is so important to really, really talk about. And because that, to me, that was my biggest challenge. And a lot of the women I've talked to, that's their biggest challenge. A lot of men I've talked to.
Give me an example. What do you mean by that? Give me an example.
Losing friendships fading, husbands and your sex life completely changing because you're not going to get crazy around 10 o'clock at night. And that's hard. And it's really scary. And we hear a lot, you know, it's for the better, which it is. In the long run, it is. But in the moment, that's really hard. And it hurts. It hurts really, really bad. And I want people to know that myself and these amazing guides who are volunteering for Put It Down have been there. And we want to talk about it and be really honest with what experiences we might encounter. And then what can we do to help us navigate that in a healthy way? The last week, incorporating that is around goal setting. So we actually take all this information that we've learned and we say, okay, now let's set some goals for ourselves. And we set short-term goals, not small goals, because there's nothing small about what we were doing here, but short-term, so we can have these wins that we can start putting in our bank and start really giving ourselves evidence to show success, to show us that we can do this, to show us that, yeah, I can go 2 days without a drink, which is a big deal. Like I hear people say all the time, I've only been like 3 days sober. I've only been 4. When I was 3 days, I was like, holy shit, I made it 3 days. I can't believe it.
I went into rehab because I couldn't make it 1.
Yeah.
That's how hard,
Yeah.
you know, so it is a miracle.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the hardest.
You know, in this month with the holidays coming up, we've been talking and we're like, you know, we have the 25 days, which starts every month. You also have the ability to do it on your own. It's in an app-like format, but we all know connection is such a magical thing. So we're creating a special group during the holidays that's going to go a little longer than 25 days, where we're going to really dive into some of those, like what's going to be the hardest part of this specific Thursday that's coming up. Is it your mother-in-law's going to be like, why aren't you drinking this red wine? Why aren't you doing it? What is the specific challenges that you're going to encounter? And let's brainstorm together as newfound friends and help us get through it.
I love that.
Thank you.
One last question. I know Peggy's got a bunch, but you went back to, you said connection. I know people that don't want to reveal they have a problem, and it's a struggle because they're not telling other people and they're missing out. I needed it. I couldn't do it by myself. It worked when I finally talked to someone and shared my goals, shared my struggles, shared my successes. Yeah. That's when it worked. But I've talked to people that don't want to because of a spouse. They don't want to for embarrassment. What do you say to them?
Well, there's a couple different approaches there. One of the main reasons why I do the silly videos on TikTok and Instagram is because I want people to feel comfortable to reach out, and I want people to understand that there is some joy that can be found in this journey, as hard as it is. And the 25 days itself, the way it's promoted is get your relationship with alcohol where you want it. I'm someone who cannot moderate, and I'm someone who truly, truly believes that moderation is a lot of work, and doing work can exhaust you. So I think when people are thinking about it and afraid to tell other people in their lives, the 25 days is a very safe space that I'm doing a cleanse for 25 days. I'm doing a challenge for 25 days. Look at these holistic things that we're doing. It's more all encompassing versus just, I'm not drinking alcohol and this is what I'm doing. And I'm learning these things, all alcohol, alcohol, alcohol. It also encompasses so much other stuff, which I hope people can feel a little bit more comfortable about it being around their whole holistic health.
Yeah, I love that, Sarah, because it's not doing something. Yeah. It's replacing that behavior with that healthy behavior. And that's
exactly,
again, that's right up my social worker heart. It's the same thing when we're doing unsafe things. Yeah. Or, what could happen if we don't do anything, right? What are some of the things, big things that could happen to us if we don't do anything? And what are those, the unsafe things? The opposite is those healthy things to replace it. And I think that's what sets modern recovery apart from other things.
Absolutely. And we're in such a great time too, with dry January and sober October being extremely trendy.
November.
Yeah, exactly. It's trendy now to take a break. And my hope is when you use these awesome resources that are out there to take the break, you're going to have some self-discovery that's going to go, oh man, I really do feel a lot better. And I want to keep going.
Yeah. It's very similar. Again, I have my frame of reference as being a social worker, but it's not, you might at first just put down the alcohol, but what you start to discover is that you sleep better. You get less arguments with your spouse. You know, your skin starts to get better. Your hair starts to get better. All those things that you really didn't expect to happen. I have never been a TikTok person. I think because I'm maybe just one generation above you, but I am such a fangirl of yours. Aww, and I think one of the reasons that you're a freaking genius with TikTok, but it shows how much fun you can have without alcohol. And that you're talking about the joy. Where do you come up with these? And if the audience hasn't seen Sarah on TikTok, she's the best one on TikTok. I hope I don't hurt all the feelings of the other people I interview. Sorry, people.
Well,
they're fantastic. So where does that come from?
Well, first of all, the social media community, especially in the sober space, is phenomenal. There's so many different types of influencers out there, from doctors to energy healers to women who are in their early 20s who are like, we're young and sober and cool. There's so much stuff out there, and we all do feed off of each other, where there are different trends that are happening that we want to repeat, and we put our own little twist on it. So that's a wonderful thing too. But when my daughter actually was like, you have to get on TikTok. If you want to actually do anything or be anybody, you have to be on TikTok. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll do it. But, when I was thinking about how we wanted to present it, I was like, I really want to make sure that we have, our own content, our own organic, original content that we're creating. And I do want to talk about alcohol. I do want to say, these are the reasons why I drank, which I have 3 different series on there. I have one is reasons why I drank, and they're really honest, and some of them are hard to get through. My next one, I can't remember which one is the next one or the second of the next one, is they're difficult because it requires some ripping off of scars that have healed. I'm picking at some scabs that I don't necessarily want to revisit, but I want people to understand that, or to provoke thought that maybe they can relate to this, and there are some solutions in place that are healthier. But I've always loved humor, and I've always found it's been a coping mechanism. It's been a coping mechanism in a non-healthy way at some points too. but now that I'm clearer and I can make logical, rational choices and intentionally decide to be silly, it feels so much better. And so my husband, who is such a good sport, I have the Why I Drink series, and I also have Breaking News, which is all about how to annoy my husband. And you talk about those little fights that we had when we were drinking. Those were all the time. It was anyone who I was with, we had little itty bitty fights. But now any argument that we have, it's few and far between. I'm still right, but now I can articulate why I'm right the next morning. But our Breaking News pokes fun at that. And, they're your stereotypical, partner, bouts that you have. And, we have one and they're usually real in the moment, Jeff and Peggy. There's one about hormones, and we were sitting there talking. I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm feeling blah, blah, blah. And he was like, it's like, you don't know what's wrong. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean, Chris? And he's like, I don't know. This usually happens every now and then, fairly regularly. And I'm like, oh. And so I was pissed, and I walked out of the room, and I was like, oh, this is a breaking news. Someone all of a sudden is an expert on the hormonal tracks of females. Oh, we know everything.
Shut up, dummy.
Yes, exactly.
I did one in the car. We were driving to Long Island to pick up a vehicle, and he, you know how everyone leaves their home that morning at the same time, and wanted to get in front of his vehicle that he was driving and go slow because they heard he was on the road, and they wanted to make sure to slow him down. And so it's just a perfect opportunity for a breaking news. So
I know his cousins in Cincinnati. they're in front of me all the time. I'll tell them he said hi.
Yeah, good. So they're usually very, very genuine moments, but they just work, and we really, really love them. And then I always like showcasing that fun bit and trying new things. I've always loved working out and being active, and the opportunity to really dedicate myself to martial arts again, which was a love that I used to have when I was younger. And now I'm a almost 42-year-old woman teaching kickboxing to other people in Connecticut. And it's so much fun. And I'm so lucky to have that opportunity. And I never would have been able to teach a 6 a.m. class on a regular basis. Now I can. Now I can. And so it's just, you know, they kind of come based on what's actually happening around the house. And when it comes down to it, nothing, you know, when there's trust and love and true compassion, and he's such a, I can't even stress how supportive he is and everything that I'm doing, that it just makes it fun to make that, exploit that.
Well, it's so important because it's, you know, reading something is okay, I can kind of accept it, but seeing it is believing. And when you see you genuinely having fun, those were the things that gave me hope that, hey, maybe this book of inspirational quotes that I don't buy it, maybe there's truth to it.
Yeah.
Because the smile is genuine and the laugh is genuine.
Yeah, it's true. And we all know that it's not easy. And, you know, being a little over 2 years, it was hard. And I was a very, very social person. And all of a sudden I wasn't. All of a sudden I had no idea what to do with my hands. I couldn't make eye contact. You know, when you hear yourself on recording and you're like, do I sound like that? That's what it felt like all the time. And I'd cry to Chris and I'd be like, is this my real self? And am I just a dud? Am I not funny anymore? And it took practice. And I'll say this, I didn't go to things I didn't want to go to. And that, you know, was great in some ways and not so great in others. But I had to just be true to how I felt in the moments. If I was uncomfortable going somewhere, I did not go. But if I really wanted to be there and I knew it was going to feel a little uncomfortable, then I would, if that makes sense. And it took practice. And even this summer was like, oh, I'm so bored. I'm so bored. I'm like, you know what? I'm making the choice here. I need to go figure out how to get unbored. Riley, let's go to a concert. And we went to a concert in the city, and it was the best concert I've been to in my whole life. And you know what? She watched me dancing, and I embarrassed, excuse me, I'm a curse. I embarrassed the shit out of her. But I had this moment of just extreme clarity where I was like, but it's not because I'm drunk dancing. It's because I'm just a weirdo.
Well, you should have seen Peggy at the, what was it? The Dynorphin disco.
Oh, that's dopamine disco. I heard all about it. I heard that was wonderful.
There's 3 medical claims that are still pending. So
really,
yeah. And you know that again, you know, the instructor was 4 years sober, and she's in her 30s. So it was just awesome. Really amazing.
I've heard so many wonderful things about her.
Where does your creative talent come from? Is it from your profession, or like, where does all of this, where's the origins of all this talent you have?
Well, sometimes I wonder if it's been bottled up inside, pun intended, for a bit. Mm-hmm. But, you know, when I was growing up, my parents my dad's a chef, a very great chef. And my mom, who is also an amazing cook, they opened restaurants together, and my mom was by his side doing the business and he was doing the kitchen. But that takes a lot of time. And so when you're home with your brothers, that requires a lot of imagination. And I think that was kind of how, you know, creativity just kept nurturing itself and growing and cultivating. But also at the same point in time, I was always so starved for like attention. So I'd go and I'd seek it, but I tried different ways to get it. My grandma's an artist, so I think it just has kind of been around. When I went to college, I majored in economics and business, but I minored in studio arts. So I feel like I have a very nice balance of those two things. But I don't know. It's so much fun to create things, but it's not just about the ideas. I was just talking about someone about this today. It's not just about the ideas. It's about like execution too. One of our guides is she helps me a lot with a lot of the creative. Linda, hello. And she's so great at creating and then executing. It's just amazing. Amazing.
You know, I think of this journey for me as I think, well, for most people, it's a two-part. It's the first part is sobriety, and then the second part is turning sobriety into recovery, which is the ongoing. Does the Put It Down lifestyle, the 25 days, does that apply to both? Is it more geared towards what?
It's both.
There's two candidate, ideal people that would, enjoy your program. And the 25 days, is that a day one type program, or is that just pick it up in the middle? How does that work?
Great question. It's actually something that we've learned through, we've been around for about 2 years, but 1 year where we've actually been running the 25 days specifically. And one of the things we're learning is when you are in your day one area, and then, or I guess more specifically, if you've had a couple of weeks or a couple of months under your belt or more, being with day one is great because you kind of are playing a mentoring role, and that really helps. But there's a different type of support that's needed there. And that's something that we're exploring on how to execute more effectively. And that's one of the reasons why, right now, when you join the 25 days, that's it. You get support until it's not around anymore, which I hope is like never, but it's something that we've learned because there is a different level of support. There's different conversations, I should say, that are being held.
I've seen plenty of things where, I'll be at 3 years in February, and the 25 days, the day one still applies to that day in my life.
Yeah.
It's not for someone that is literally on day one.
Yes. I love that.
It is still principles that apply.
Yes.
And I might have to tweak it a little bit to match where I am on my journey, but it's everything's useful. I can still.
Yeah. Agree. And there's so much more brain science that is coming out too, even more than we know, which is, I was just listening to something the other day, and it was where our levels of dopamine and motivation come from, like a big hit of dopamine that we need to kind of stay in this comes from our socializing aspect, comes from us socializing. So then what do you do if you stop drinking alcohol and, like me, couldn't socialize, was a deer in headlights, and now I'm not getting this dopamine from this place I used to? You're in this weird cycle. So there's so much more fascinating brain science that's coming out that it's just phenomenal to me.
And every day too, right? I mean, kind of Huberman's lab, is the last one that's really gotten a ginormous buzz. But
if you guys haven't listened to Huberman Lab, I mean, it is, the alcohol one's great. The cannabis one is great too. And it's all of them. I just listened to the anxiety one. Oh, like plug.
Yeah. One of my best friends is, he did Sober October. He doesn't have an issue with alcohol, but after listening to that, he thought, no, I don't have an issue with it, but I've got an issue with alcohol.
Yeah.
And it was, like, I'm not happy to read what it's doing to me.
Yeah.
So he did Sober October, and, just because of, he realized, what it was for him, it was more, brain, what it was doing to his physicalness. It didn't control his life like it did.
Nice word. That's a great word.
Physicalness. I'm in the Word of the Month club that Lisa Powell Brown, she recommended. So she gave me that.
It's okay. I called Dr. Andrew Huberman a brain professor the other day because I couldn't think of what he was.
That would be me. Sarah, what's something people would be surprised to know about you?
Half of my back is tattooed.
Whoa.
Wow. They're always surprised to know that.
Awesome.
Also, side note, I know we've talked about fame a little bit, but I am Danbury Idol 2011. And Len, if you're watching, I know you said you wanted a rematch, so bring it on. I'm ready.
What is that?
They did a little karaoke contest.
Oh, that's so awesome. What's something surprising you've learned about yourself on this journey?
I did not know that I was lacking self-confidence and self-worth. I had no idea. I
don't think anyone would have known that.
I've always loved being in the room and telling the story, but I was hiding. It wasn't authentic. And I really had to do some deep digging. And I realized I was looking for it in so many other places, whether it was, men and dating the wrong person, but I thought it looked good for optics, or from a health perspective, working out and eating healthy. I was doing it to look good, not to be healthy. And I was like, wow, wait, hold on. This is all starting to add up to issues I have. And I just was really an insecure mess. And it didn't reconcile with things I was doing. Like, I'm have a great job and I'm going to the office every day and I'm able to support my family and all these things. But it was self-worth. I was lacking significantly. And I'm happy to say that my cuppeth overflow with, and the spit out of my mouth.
3 times real fast, please. And then it'll be Peggy. It'll be like a row your boat, watching everyone come in trying to say that. That would be good. The one thing that I learned with recovery, you look at fitness commercials and they show the model that looks like, I'll never look like that. Those things are not attainable. But and my recovery might not look like Sarah Olson as far as being the bubbly and doing TikTok. But what I can get is what I was, or what I can get what I can be, or what I once was. That's the thing. It's the realism is it's getting back my best.
Yeah.
That's attainable. Yeah. And that's because I look at what before alcohol really took over my life, and it's like I wanted to be him again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when I set that as my goals, that was still a great goal, not on a lot of other people's terms, but
sure.
Standards. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And it's when I look back on the time I was drinking, these times that were awesome, they're these peaks, but then a quick plummet to 3 days of feeling terrible about myself. And now it's like this. Just a nice little cool wave, just like Post Malone. If anyone knows Post Malone on the stage, he just does this.
Yeah. How do you? I want to know how you maintain it, because so often, especially people that are newer, they wake up and I'm done. It's so great. I've reached that point. I'm done. And that's 9 o'clock in the morning. And by 4 o'clock, it's like, how quick can I get out of here? Because and they're right back. How do you hold on to that?
Yeah. You got to keep practicing.
At the end of the day.
You can't stop. Everyone talks about, we talk a lot about decision fatigue and make that decision early in the day. We all say make the decision early in the day, because at the end of the day, you're more likely to make the decision you don't want to make. But what your example you just said, that I always made the decision in the first thing in the morning. Mm-hmm. I always said, I am not drinking it out. And, it takes practice. Yeah. And eventually, if this is something that you truly want, you're going to get there. And one of the things that we talk about is we have, like, in the 25 days, we have something called the Big 3, which is, it's why did you join the 25 days? And this can be applied to anything, by the way. So anything that you want in life or to do, why do you want to do it? So why do you want to do this? Something might have happened. So maybe I joined the 25 days because I drank too much at my wedding and don't remember the second half of the day, and the pictures were all really, really terrible. Yes, that is a true story about me. I joined it. But what's my goal? Is it because, I want to have my alcohol use under control, or I want to quit altogether, or I have no idea what it is. And then the last one, the third one is, but how will my life be different if I achieve that goal? And that's something that we talk about throughout the entire 25 days. And that's something that should be your foundation as you continue to go. And yes, it absolutely 100% can change. So for me, even though, again, in my journey, I wasn't necessarily saying those words, but now I do. I recognized and really, really, really reflected on the changes that were happening in my life. And I wrote them down. I said them out loud. I obviously have a public platform. I told my friends, and not everyone wants to tell their friends. So writing it down in a journal, and a lot of people are like, I don't journal. That's not my thing. But let's take that part aside. From a scientific neuroactivity perspective, when you write something down, it carves a lot deeper in your brain.
And you're using both sides of your brain. So
exactly.
You know, my brain at 5 o'clock, you look around this room, there's pictures of my dog, and every one of them, the dog is looking cute, smiling. I don't have pictures hanging of him doing duty in the corner or chewing the remote control. My brain doesn't give me easy access to memories of me throwing up or stumbling or making my brain shows me the pictures that it gives me on the wall are the happy times, the laughs at the tailgating party, the highlight of the party.
Yeah.
So remembering the crap is critical for me. And I can't, it doesn't offer those pictures up it hides them in the corner. I got to dig, and writing them down is a massive help for me.
It really is.
I'll forget them.
And remembering the positive, that's called euphoric recall, or that's one of the names for it. That's something that we do with previous relationships, or the cake that I said I wasn't going to eat, that I'm going to eat the whole thing. You know, it's all euphoric recall. And is this thing in the moment enough to compromise that goal I set? Why did I set that goal? Like, why is it all of a sudden different? Why am I all of a sudden changing it? And that's why those short-term goals are so important, because it doesn't give you the time to change it up. It doesn't give you the time to change it up.
The put it down, the 25 days, is that I'm running across the bottom, your Instagram at Put It Down Lifestyle, and just your website, putitdownlifestyle.com. Are there specific start dates for the program? Is it just when you want, or how does that work?
You have a couple options. So if you're someone who's not quite ready to work with other people, you can do this in the privacy of your own home. We have a ebook, and we call it the workbook, because that's how creative I actually am, Peggy. That's the name, the workbook. Wow. I know. If you ever need me to name anything, like, we can call this the live stream.
Let me write that down.
But we have the ebook of all the 25 days content, as well as some reflection areas that if you can type in it, you can print it out and write in it. But we also have it online too. So if you just want to go on to the website, it's in a app-like setting, eventually prepping to be in an app, where you just click on day one, and you can either read through it, or you can watch the content that's in the ebook, and you can listen to it. There is a voiceover that tells you everything that you need to know, with a couple little insights. You can do it on your own if you want. But if you do want to be with a group of people, it generally starts on the 1st of the month. And we have one every single month. And then we have some specialty ones, like the holiday one for Thanksgiving and Hanukkah and Christmas, and all those ones that we have now.
You have to watch though with the voiceover thing, because you can get, I don't know if Peggy's got her thing, and that she had someone do her voiceover, and you just talk about a record.
I did not have someone do my voiceover. I did my own, you jerk.
It's so awful. That's awesome. What'd you say, Peggy?
I did my own. You know what? I just have one last question for Sarah, and then I would love to have Sarah back in a month, or in less than a month, really, is because we really don't have enough time to look at it today, around having Sarah and Riley on, and her daughter. And so I just have to put a plug in for Ola Sober magazine for those of you that are listening and that will listen to this recording, because if you go to olasober.com, Sarah's daughter Riley agreed to an interview of what it was like with her mom drinking, and also what her mom is like now with after putting it down.
How was that to hear, Sarah?
You know, when she first answered the questions, I was like, okay, okay. All right, that's good. When it came out, I was like, ooh. oh. And the you know, and when you read it, the word lazy was in there. And I was like, lazy. And I almost wanted to defend myself to her. But I didn't. Because you know what? I was lazy. Because look at all the stuff I'm doing now.
Yeah.
That's hard.
In all of this, in closing for today, what's something surprising you've learned about yourself in this journey?
Really, it was around the feelings of unworthiness, and maybe more importantly, the power to find my worth. Maybe that's really it. So now that I discovered I have some insecurity issues, it's even better that I discovered that I have the power to very quickly rectify that. And that's really the support system around me, and the tribe that I have around me, and the dedication and reflection that I'm doing. And it's wonderful. And I think one of the best things for anyone to do, no matter where they are in this journey, is don't stop. Keep going. And no matter if you're taking a step forward, if you're taking a step back, that is still progress, no matter what. And I just had to kind of keep pushing through. And I did.
My last question is, we talk about addiction, and tattoos are an addiction. The next time you're back on, is it
back on?
Is it a
BAC Story?
It's been a very long time since I had my back worked on. And I said, this is the last words I said to the tattoo artist before I actually paid. I said, get off. And he said, what? I said, get off. I'm done. I'm done. He's like, but I'm not. I said, I'm done. Get off. Get off. And so there are some on the docket that everyone in the family discuss. Well, not everyone, not the child, but my husband and I. But
do you still have his card on hand?
No, not that one. I need another one.
Well, hey, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Next Thursday, Thanksgiving. What did we say? I'm going to do I'm going to be on. I think Peggy's gone, but I want to kind of open it up for people, and I want to hear how Thanksgiving went, because obviously it's an earlier meal. So I think by now most people will have been done, but there's going to be some challenges. And I think what Sarah said, the key, answer them before you get there.
Yeah, for sure.
Make the choices before you have to choose.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait till that 5 o'clock. So we'll have some fun, but I'll get something out for that. But
I have a great grounding. I have some free resources right on the website, and one of them is a grounding meditation. And Lord knows we need grounding during the holidays, so feel free to go grab that bad boy.
Oh, so fun, Sarah! Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Peggy, you want to sing us out? I think the words are la-di-da-di-dee, la-di-da-di-da. See you, everyone. Have a great week.
Bye.
Take care.